Shalom, shalom. Kol halalim la Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. All praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone, and that rule well. And shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,001 third. May peace and blessings be upon you and your households as much the end. Okay, wherever you're scattered, wherever you are, wherever you are. Okay, what you see on the screen is it's not talking about good morning in America. Put it this way, it's morning, literally morning. Okay? That's why I don't even respond to people. If somebody says good morning to me, I say good day. I use what people say in Australia, hey, good day, mate. I say good day. I don't even like the term morning. Esau Edom, he with his new speak and, switching up words and switching up the definitions of words. But nevertheless, I don't want to go into a tangent. Let's go definition of morning. One second, I'm just going to get the right definition. Obviously, with morning, the word morning is a different spelling to it, but I was going to just check out this news. One second. And it said morning in America, and this is literally morning in America. Mourning. Mourning is the expression of deep sorrow and grief, most commonly following the death of a loved one. It's the death of America, death of Esau Edom's power, right? So mourning is the expression of deep sorrow and grief, most commonly following the death of a loved one. It encompasses both internal feelings of loss and the external cultural practice of rituals used to honor the deceased. Well, who's a deceased? It's America. The American dream is dead. Okay, we're talking about great, General Motors, bruv. Okay, that's a heavy-duty organization. Okay, and let's see who they're losing their jobs to. Let's check this out.
Workers at a Detroit General Motors facility say they are disgusted after more than 1,000 employees are laid off and dozens of robots are now on the job instead. Now, GM says this situation isn't how it might look from the outside. So let's get over to Nick, who's got the full story here. Nick, is it as simple as GM replacing hundreds of humans with machines, or is there more to it?
There's more to it, Marky. GM says no, but that's not how it appeals to those who work there, right? The company has not drawn a direct line between each layoff and each new machine. What we can say is that GM cut more than 1,000 jobs at GM's Factory Zero plant in Detroit, which is all electric. Then they installed roughly 50 robots on the assembly line. The collaborative robots, or as they are called, cobots, made by the Fanuc American Corporation, help employees attach body panels on vehicles. Jim says they are designed to work beside people, improving safety, ergonomics, flexibility, and competitiveness. The company has also said its production cuts were driven by slower electric vehicle demand. But to workers who have watched their plant shrink, the order of events is hard to ignore. Their jobs disappeared, then the robots arrived.
The threat of humanoid robotics and mass automation. It's a profound threat and a challenge to our way of life, to our economy, and our political system. We need to be clear about this. We are in a fight for humanity.
Now, GM's spokesperson calls the robots a part of a broader push toward using more advanced tech company-wide, Marky.
All right, we'll watch that closely, see where it goes next. Nick, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.
All right, there you go. Let's just go to some scriptures now. Bear with me one moment. All right. Excuse the sirens in the background. All right. Let's go to some scriptures. What's the one that comes to mind? No work in Egypt, right? No work in Egypt. All right. It's Isaiah 19, verse 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. There's no work in Egypt. Obviously, with these things happening, okay, General Motors, what's going to happen with this? All right. And we could see predominantly within that organization, there are a lot of Edomite looking faces. Even though we know our people are scattered amongst everybody, but everybody cannot be in Israel, right? Even though we're the most numerous nation on the planet Earth, all right, where the damn slaves going to come from? So, Esau's being hit left, right, and center, all right? Okay? And what happens with this with no work? All right? Depression, problems within the household between man and woman, violence, people crashing out. People don't know how they're going to pay their bills. Esau Edom is resorting back to his caveman ways, combined with that Mad Max mentality, right? They're going back to the caveman ways. They're going to these, all these Edomites are getting together, moving to these remote areas with their buses and coaches and sort of like, living like animals, the way kind of like gypsies do, right? Kind of like that Mad Max kind of environment. And on top of that, crime spikes through the roof. Why? Because people are stealing food. People are trying to forget about their problems. That's why Esau Edom likes to, promote all these shows. I mean, if you look at the internet, what are they pushing so hard? All the 80s, 90s, 70s shows, all the nostalgia. Oh, I wish I could go back. Oh, I want to go back to a time which was easier, more simpler. I was there. I was a young man. I was a teenager in the early 90s. I was 10, 12 years old in the late 80s. Right? I was a young man in the late 90s, in my 20s. I was there. I lived it. Yeah, it was so-called more fun, but you crackers ain't going to go back to it. All right? You two-third Jakes ain't going to go back to it, but you Edomites and you heathen nations ain't going to go back to that. All right? So you can just only dwell on it. All right? You can only dwell on it. You're not going to ever go back to it. And with this, no work leads to what? No disposable income. No disposable income. No purchases being made. No purchases being made. Further businesses closing down. Restaurants, cafes. Who the fuck's going to go to a cafe to pay X amount for a plate of food? Okay, you say, okay, you know what? That money that I'm going to spend on that plate of food, I can buy, my own ingredients, raw ingredients, and I can make enough food for 3 people instead of paying that amount for 1 person. That's just an example there, right? And Edomites and other nations are dirty people anyway. They're just about change their clothes or wash their clothes. They're going to make 1 pair of clothes last longer. They're not going to be buying no shoes. They don't buy no shoes or sneakers or clothes anyway. You know how Edomites are and other nations, right? Okay, so this is going to be a what you call a snowball effect. One thing affects another. All right. You know how it is. For example, when you were growing up back in the day, right, coming up, when you're looking for work, But until you find a job, you might ask your dad for a few quid. You know, it might be Friday. Say, Dad, chuck me a score. Meaning £20. You know, because you want to maybe go to the store, maybe grab a few beers, and maybe grab. I'm talking back in the day, right? In the '90s. I'm talking about myself. Oh yeah, I want to grab a bucket of chicken or something. You know, and until you get a job, and then when you do get a job, what happens? Everything comes together. You get a job, you got a few quid in your pocket, you get more confidence, you start buying things for yourself. You might meet a woman as well. You know, right? Everything comes together. Now, without that job, right? Without that job, without a job, you don't feel like a man, do you? Esau Edom's not a damn man anyway. I'm just saying, you don't feel like a man, right? So this is a big, big detriment for a lot of people, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. Okay, and Esau Edom, the so-called white man, has acquired this earth by the sword. That's their blessing, right? That's their blessing mentioned in the scriptures. Esau has got the earth by the sword, and did they not? And they've been given and handed and taken and stolen and enslaved and raped and took everything. So they're not used to hardships. They're not used to stress. Okay? When they get stressed, what do? They jump out the window. When they get stressed, what do? They delete their family. When they get stressed, what do? They rob and steal. Okay? When Jake gets stressed, what does he do? He breaks it up. He compartmentalizes it. He'll just say, you know what? Today's today. I'm going to sleep tonight. I'm going to pray and I'm going to sleep tonight. And tomorrow will be another day and the Lord will open up other doors. That's the way Jake thinks. Romans 10 verse 2. All right? Our people have that connection to the Most High, loosely paraphrasing scripture, but not according to knowledge. Okay, so a lot of people, okay, because our people, Israelites in general, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, as well as the Israelite foreigners abroad, right, have been going through stress. They're used to it. They're used to it. And so these things that are happening right now, right, because the curses are going upon our enemies, Deuteronomy 30 verse 7, all right, and the curses are slowly but surely, just slowly, they're still there, don't get it twisted, but slowly but surely, right, coming off Jacob. And you see our people overall, right, doing better. They're working, they've got nice cars, right, they're shining, okay. Our people overall, collectively, but our people are still suffering, all right. But these crackers are getting it up, left, right, and center, man. And the heathen too. All right, the other nations. Because remember, Psalm 83, they were all complicit in taking us down. Now the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is taking them down. So no work. All right? No work. And then on top of that, with AI and these crisis actors and the real deal, people making videos on so-called foreigners from coming from abroad taking jobs. Even if Esau Edom is qualified for that particular job, but they're going to blame you. Oh yeah, there's a man of color taking my job. White jobs for white people. That's what they're going to come out with, some stupid slogan like that, right? Okay, so Isaiah 19 verse 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. No work. Okay, we're in Egypt all over again. Why the fuck do you think there's a pyramid on the dollar bill? Has that ever crossed your mind? Why is there a pyramid on an American dollar bill? What the heck has Africa or Egypt specifically got to do with America? Okay, yeah, well, it's because it's Egypt all over again, right? All right. Okay, so there's no optimism. Brakti Abashimashah 144. All right, there's no optimism. Okay, us Jakes, we got optimism, man. Okay, we go through hell every day. There's things that are on us, annoying things that we got to deal with, right? But at the forefront of our minds, we pray to Yahweh Shemashai, okay? And we got so much coming to us. So, we're not stressed out like that, because we know we're at the end of this hell. This ain't no motherfucking 1850, 1950. This is 2026, bruv. We're going home soon, okay? 144 and 4 again. No, 144 and 4 again. There's 1444. When I said going home. All right. We're going home. All right. Isaiah 24 and 11. There is, there is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Excessive laughter. I remember when I was a young lad going to school, and you would see Edomites sometimes, window cleaners and all that, walking around, right? And Edomites, especially, they'd be like whistling and, and they'll be nattering, and, nattering meaning like in the UK, they'd be like, these are probably Israelite foreigners, these so-called white people that I was speaking to when I was a young man, because they were polite and they were cool and they were lively people. Now that I think about it, they're probably Jake, okay? They like to have a chat. But, regular Edomites sometimes might have a chat to you as well, especially when things are going well for them. But that'll happen no more because these crackers, they're going through hell. Have you looked at everyone? Compare, if you're old enough to remember the world the way it was, say 30 years ago, and how people were, how they interacted, you don't see that interaction anymore. You realize that everyone's gray, everyone's got their eyes down. Motherfuckers are wearing pajamas in the day. That shit is crazy to me when I still see that shit. Okay? The mirth of the land is gone, man. There is no excessive laughter anymore, no happiness, no optimism. All right, it's all about survival of the fittest. But who's the fittest? It's only the elect, the Israelites. Okay, Isaiah 24 and 11 again. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. General Motors is a heavy-duty organization. All right, growing up, man, watching American movies, because we got the same thing as you guys have in America. The only difference is that we got different accents over here, and the geography of the UK is different. All right, and we got less poison in our foods, even though there's still poison in it. Right? How many times did you see vehicles, rap videos with GM in it? GM, or whatever. All right? General Motors is a heavy duty organization. Okay? And how much have we seen of the last couple of years of companies closing down left, right, and center? Okay? Crime has spiked through the roof. Fraud has spiked through the roof. Women are being raped. All right? It's going to get like that. Okay? Let's go to second. I think it's second Ezra's, right? Second Ezra's. Is it 14 or 15? Let me see if I've got the right one here. Lord, when this is the one, I think it's it's second Ezra's 15. Yeah, 15. Yep. Second Ezra's 15. Okay. Second Ezra's 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Okay, woe meaning bad times, evil times, right? All right. Actually, let me get the definition of the word woe. I don't want to just wing it. Definition of woe. Definition of the word woe. W-O-E. I'm just using my phone. Okay. Woe is a noun that refers to a deep, Nasalakia. Woe is a noun that refers to a state of deep suffering, intense distress, affliction, or misfortune. Okay, let's read that again. Woe is a noun that refers to a state of deep suffering, intense distress, affliction, or misfortune. All right. You Edomites have got a lot of misfortune. It's starting on this side, bruv. Actually, you're not my bruv. But I'm just saying, you're starting on this side, you damn heathens. And you non-Israelites. And you 2/3, man. You're going to get it too. The only good thing that, not the only, the good thing that for you 2/3 or you unelect Jakes is the fact that you're still Israelites. All right. All right. That's not, but the heathen, you are effed. Especially so-called white people, you Edomites. Okay. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Okay. 2 Ezra 15:14. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Okay. For there shall be sedition among men, which is happening on both ends. Edomites heathen nations. All right, Jacob. Okay, what's the definition of sedition? Let me get the definition of sedition. Since you Jakes don't want to look up any words, all right, Elder Apostle Tar in the Spirit and Power of Yahweh Hashem Yeshua said, look up words, man. All right, we're not going to be like our elders because they're special men from back in the day, reincarnated prophets. But we can learn. Take a page. What's the term? Take a leaf out of their book. All right. Sedition is the crime, and Elder Apostle Gabar said it's fun looking at words, and indeed it is, man. Okay. Sedition is the crime of using speech, writing, or organization to incite people to rebel against the authority of an established government or state. Okay? It involves promoting civil disorder, resistance, or insurrection, though it usually stops short of direct open violence. But this time it's not going to stop short of direct violence. Violence is going to happen. Let's read the next verse. Okay. Yeah. Let's read it all again. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So this is not going to stop short before violence happens. Violence is coming. Okay. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. Why? Because there's a difference between the haves and the have-nots. All right. You live on the same street. One house is suffering, other house is doing successful. A lot of you Jakes that live in these Edomite neighborhoods have done well, or these so-called mixed neighborhoods where there's many nations there, but you're pretty much left alone, and there's probably a couple of Israelite families there, right? And you're doing well, right? Jake got promoted or has some kind of online business or something that's going well. A couple of nice cars parked up in the driveway. You're shining, you're looking smooth, They're going to be coming, man. But the elect are going to be protected. All right? The elect are protected. All right? For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. We already seen when so-called Prince Charles became king, they were chucking eggs at him. People hate Trump, so they don't give a shit about the heads of state no more. People don't give a shit about the royal family. I've been hearing, I'm 50 years old. I've been hearing since I was a child, oh, get rid of the royal family. Edomite saying that in the UK. All right? Right? People don't give a shit about Trump. Okay? They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's going to get busy out here. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Martial law. Okay? Verse 18, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, their houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. All right? All those good days and hellos and hello, how's your day going is out the window. All right? It's out the window. And wait till that 911 in America stops and the phone number for the police or so-called emergency services 999 in the UK stops. All right? A lot of people are not going to have their backup. They're not going to have Big Daddy Esau anymore protecting him. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right? That trouble is coming, man. All right? And people are already suffering. Okay? They've got 2 or 3 jobs and still not making ends meet. They're earning the most money they've ever did in their career. Right? But they still can't make ends meet. And these are people on 6-figure salaries in America. America, everywhere is expensive. But America, because that was a so-called beacon of light and everybody wanted to go there, everybody wanted to make it. You were enticed by the movies, the shows, Baywatch and all that. And this is me speaking as a young man in the 90s, when I was a young man. I wanted to move to California. This is like back in 1990, 91. You see Pamela Anderson and Yasmin Bleeth run across those sandy shores of, those beaches in Cali. Those fine-ass women, especially Yasmin Bleeth. If you know, you know, right? Huh? That brunette. You think, shit, I want to go there, man. Yeah, but anyway, I'm digressing against Salakia. All right? Everything, is over, man. All right? And it's going to get bad out here. And this is just one company, General Motors. Okay, 1,000 people. It's the rise of the machines. Okay? and it's going to get worse. All right. And people are already struggling financially, man. All right. Let's go to Haggai 1 and 6. Oh, Lord. Where is it? Haggai 1 and 6. Oh, sugar. Here we go. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. Okay, we've seen that. People crashing out. Oh, I'm earning the most money I've ever done in my career, and I can't pay my bills. I've got to toss a coin between buying food or buying fuel. Okay, and the Strait of Hormuz, that strait, I believe, is shut down again, right? That's not going to open. And Russia is apparently running out of fuel. Okay, remember, when this fuel costs rise and there's no fuel, those trucks stop as well, going to providing food and services. And America is a huge damn landmass, bruv. Okay, you need vehicles over there. Okay, it's huge. So no food, people are going to starve to death. But the elect are good because the Lord said his servants are going to eat. All right, but the rest of America and the world are going to suffer, man. Okay, but America, okay, the heathen there, the non-Israelites there, the 2/3, they finito, man. It's only the elect that are going to get out of it, whoever they are, wherever they are. Okay? And people are working and 2-3 jobs, and they earn like $5,000 a month, and $3,000 is a damn rent. Doing shopping is like $400 a week or whatever. That's really eating into it. Eating into their savings. Okay? So all that happy, gung-ho attitude, American flag waving, flag saluting, that America is gone, man. Okay? That America is gone. The love for your country, all that shit is all gone. Okay? That hatred, that pride these crackers had is going to turn to hatred, and there's going to be a lot of infighting. Let's watch things pop off, man. We could be in a very different world by the end of the year, man. But let's see, July the 4th is July the 4th is this week. It's Saturday, isn't it? And Esau likes to do a lot of things on a Saturday. Let's see what comes. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there now. So General Motors, and Detroit, man, is it called, Detroit was Motor City, right? Motor City, yeah. Motor City. That was a thriving hub back in the day. It's just barely, thriving hub back in the day. Now it's just barely, standing, Detroit was like a soul muscular Edomite 50 years ago. Now that Edomite, has lost his steroids, lost his juice, skin is sagging, lost his muscles. And now that Edomite, right, is leaning against the wall trying to hold on. That's what you are today, man. America is going to be destroyed, man. And rightfully so. And we're at the end. And it's only going to get worse. All praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be to Yahweh, Bashem Meshai, Bashem Rakakodash, Muatha Bad Babal, Kwam Yashrala, Shalom.